Welcome to Buzz Talk Live. Tonight's guest is a recognized actor, media personality, and TV host. Sean Bennett has been a member of the Screen Actors Guild for over 20 years. Sean has displayed his zany and comic talent as an on-air host and guest for MTV, TLC, Food Network, and many more. He has also been hired for commercial work for hundreds of top organizations, from Walt Disney World to General Motors. But in recent roles, as author and motivational speaker, has been the focus for Sean. So please chat and welcome Sean Bennett, known as Bennett, to Buzz Talk Live. How you doing, Sean?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, buddy.
What?
How's it going, man?
Everything's going great.
Good.
How are you?
All right. A little bit of a crazy day, but other than that, we're broadcasting, we're sitting, we're chatting.
What would possibly be going on?
All right, exactly. But so where I usually start off where we're remoting from tonight. Where are we?
I am very impressed because your studio looks surprisingly identical to my apartment in Chelsea, Manhattan. You got every detail, man. It's like, COVID ain't stopping you. Bill Maher's got nothing on you, man.
Well, let me tell you something, a little secret. I started not like this. This is an upgrade, and you're one of the few guests new studio, getting a flavor of the new Buzz Talk Live set. So this is a new set that we designed, and we're going to take it from here and see where it goes.
That's awesome. Good for you, man. You deserve it.
Thanks. So, I tell you, I was just reading your bio and some of your notes, and you had a very interesting upbringing in our world here. You want to tell us about it?
Sure. I mean, really, there's a lot to cover. My mom's very creative. My dad was very cheap. And then I wanted to, be the biggest star since Tom Cruise. And they were kind of like Family Guy, and I was Stewie. So it didn't quite make sense. I'd be like, Mommy, I want to see Annie. She seems to be and, it's like, no, Dad, was I adopted? And they still deny it to this day. So I'm not sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I ate a lot. I was, the original Precious. I had a lazy eye. So I wore a patch on one eye, which was very sexy, and glasses. And while I was wearing that patch, I went to the world's first underground school in Kissimmee, Florida. So basically,
hold on, back up. You went to an underground school?
It was what they thought was going to catch on in swampland, Florida. So they basically put a bunch of dirt on top of a building. So we had no windows. And now I'm the kid with astigmatism. So I can't see to begin with. You put me in a dark room for like 8 hours. I came out like a little hobbit with swollen eyes. What I had left. I mean, and then the school started caving in. So the underground idea did not catch on. I was a worm. I grew up as a worm that was overeating in Florida.
Oh my God. My God.
And in the same, I don't know if anybody else's parents did this, but my dad, for free food on the weekends, would take us to car dealerships and pretend he wanted to buy a car just to get us free hot dogs and soda. And then every time we went for a restaurant, I knew I had to pretend it was my birthday to get a free meal and a cake. And so I got to the point where I'd be like crying. I'd be like, Dad, I don't want another birthday.
Oh my God. So you had a really very interesting upbringing.
But that's all right,
Look, your parents loved you, right? That was just their way of showing their love and support for you. What can I say? Look at you now, right? I mean, it's all worked out. When did you move up north to New York?
I've been the first move actually started when I got into New York University. So I got into their School of Performing Arts, Tisch, and I fell in love with New York. And then I had to leave for a little bit afterwards and then return. So I've been in New York about 18, 19 years at this point.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
No, that's good. And you're making it work for you. You seem like a very hardworking fella, and you've been hitting the streets and making the whole acting thing work. Was that always a passion of yours?
It was. I mean, I'd always watch movies, especially too. I was an only child, so I was my imaginary friend or watching the television because there weren't many other options, And my parents decided to move into a senior village, so my new neighbor might even become a friend, but then they would usually die a week later. It's Florida, they don't have law.
I don't anywhere on my notes. Bennett. Should I call you Bennett or Sean?
Okay, so Bennett came up because it was a nickname from a woman I worked with at Scion while doing media for them and traveling with the auto shows. Okay. And so when I was doing Food Network, they wanted nicknames, and that's where Bennett came from. I feel it's somewhere between cool and douchebag. So we can use it if we want or not. It's just like...
No, I mean, look, a lot of people go by their last names. I mean, sometimes I go by my last name, but a lot of people call me Buzz, but,
Cash, whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. I didn't have anywhere on my notes. I'm looking. It doesn't have anything about imaginary friends. So this is something new.
I would notice. I'm in New York City. I mean, where are you? You're in a burb? You're outside of the city?
Where am I?
Yeah.
I'm in Long Island.
All right, Long Island, represent. Okay, so here we have a lot of homeless people. So what I don't understand is often you'll hear them just yelling and damn it, Vietnam, you slept with my wife. Right. So they have imaginary friends. But don't you think when you're homeless, it's the time you need a supportive imaginary friend? Why are you taking your enemy? You had a rough day. You need somebody to cheer you up. You don't want to yell at your
Absolutely. I mean, look, a cup and some pencils only get you so far. You have to make different angles work for you. But
my imaginary friends were friendly. They weren't like some of the people I've seen on the street.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. All homeless are very friendly people. I mean, look, that's a whole nother show, Sean. But I want to fast forward to as far as your acting, and you've been a part of some pretty heavy duty stuff, and where you found yourself in the midst of working with certain individuals. I mean, look at you. You're Elvis. You're an Elvis impersonator.
Hey, baby, don't be cruel. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that happened. I met a girl when I moved to New York. Because, look, I came like off of the bus and I'm like, I'm going to be a star, mama.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, how do I eat? And so this woman.
Heather Graham, look at you, Heather Graham.
Right? I met her out and about in town. She actually was there at a shop talking about the director she was with. And so anyhow, we became buddies for all of 10 minutes. But it was cute. So, we're besties in my mind. That counts.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, so when the Elvis thing came about, I met a woman and I asked her what she did. And she said she portrayed Cher at parties. And to be honest, it's like, ha ha. And she's like, $600 an hour for going around like, oh, Sonny, don't hit the tree. I love her. Yes, where did the girl parts go? And I was like, people said I look like Elvis. Aren't you proud to walk around like this in a jumpsuit? How you doing, brother?
Yeah.
And for a while, it was like, a part-time gig on the weekends.
Wow. Well, I mean, look, hey, you got to make different things work for you. And if you have a certain look about yourself, and it looks like you look like a lot of different people. I mean, you've been on soap operas, you are recurring roles on All My Children and One Life to Live, right? And so you've done the serious stuff. You've done some TV stuff. You're cop. Look at you, enforcement agent, and you're with Heather Graham. And you got hit on the head.
It wasn't a good day. It really wasn't.
Right. Now, look, you've done some interesting stuff. Now, tell me about this hosting stuff that you're getting into. You work car shows, anything for a buck. But look, you're not just taking anything. It has to be meaningful, right? And you're not going to put yourself out there.
Really, if you have money, you can find me online, rent me for any occasion. I'm available for bar mitzvahs, to walk a goat around as exploitation. Whatever works, really. Just anything will do.
I never heard about walking goats around at a bar mitzvah, but hey, look, bar mitzvahs are like weddings, so they have the money for that, I've
been to many, yeah.
All right. So hosting, as far as that goes, you've done some stuff. You've done some for Fashion Week, right, in Miami. I do have a clip here, a compilation of a lot of your different roles in hosting. So let's take a look.
Okay.
What's up, Sean?
Problems are universal. That's why we're Pop-Up Psychic. We can pop up anywhere in this country or even across the world. We've met lots of people who are local or might be moving. What they all have in common is their search to know the future, whether it be relationships, physical challenges, emotional challenges, or financial challenges. All of us have problems. All of us are connected. It's the circle of life. Hakuna Matata, my friend. Stay tuned. Let's see if you're correct. Let's find out. Enjoy. From our family to yours, thank you for being a part of the PJC TV family. Much more jewelry, much more deals to come in the future. Have a great night, everyone.
Looking at my stir fry, it kind of looks like a Lindsay Lohan after a night out. Chunky, jagged, but not a bad party. Spanish albardingas.
All right.
I think I still have a VCR that I never was able to hook up.
What's in your sauce?
I'm using a brie and then a smoked Gouda.
We're going to compare a top spa's $200 massage with the Swedish Institute and their $10 massage. And you said there's a name for this pose that you see in all the different Indian and Asian paintings. What is this called?
This is a mudra, and it's the closing of the circle between the divine and the human.
If they don't give in, they can eat as much as they want. But if they do give in, they only get the snacks I'm shoving in their mouth or tempting them to eat. Let's go see how the first girl does.
One more.
No,
Come on, just one more. Come on. Just for me. Come on. You're so cute.
No air filters, no transmission. It's very low maintenance, so it's easier to own an electric than a car with an engine and a transmission.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Look, I think the hosting is pretty cool. I think, you're a natural at it. You want to take over my show? I mean, you could come on and
Why not?
guest host Buzz Talk Live one night and, what the hell?
I'll be the Robin to your Howard. Shut up.
I gotta keep this show moving. I gotta keep it. and I need some really interesting guests.
Like I said, go to my website, rent me for any occasion.
and I saw you were a clown too, and I don't know, did your clown have a name or anything, or?
No, I didn't commit. But I did a clown commercial with a very talented friend of mine. I'll give her a plug, Bettina Sky. She's a great actress, and I booked her and another friend on a commercial with me for AT&T. And the best part of this, there's a story to go to this. We had little people and elephants, the usual for a clown commercial. And I was with the elephant, and my friend was on stilts with a little person. And they gave her the little person to hold. And her phone rang, and she forgot she had the little person and dropped him.
Oh my God! Really?
And the director wanted her to do it again, and the little person's like, "No, I won't go back, no!" And then so she didn't get to hold him again.
Go figure.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame him. But she's a talented actress when you don't make her hold a little person on stilts with a phone involved.
I can't speak for all the clowns out there, but I know that clowning, as they call it, is very serious. It's a job. It's a very serious job.
It was at a university. It was one of the options when you took your SATs. Little did I know I ended up doing it anyhow. So
yeah. I think I should book a made-up clown for the show. I think he should come on and to tell us exactly the behind the scenes of clowning and the gigs and all the stuff that goes behind it.
My clown book runneth over.
Look, there's enough of circus people out there. I think I can wrangle one up, Bennett. But no. So then you were involved with this cooking show. It was called the worst cooks in America, and Ann Burrell was the host of the show, and I think Bobby Flay was there too. How did you get this gig?
Funny enough, another shout out. Bettina Sky nominated me because she knew I didn't really cook, to be honest. And I figured it's a good way to get my personality out, to maybe book other hosting gigs and get other opportunities.
Right.
So that's kind of why I agreed to do it. As it turns out, like some of the other contestants, they were engaged to chefs. They were married to chefs. They had a chef in the family.
Really?
Yeah, they knew how to cook. They lied. I didn't know you could lie. I told the truth. I don't turn on my oven. When I do, it's a disaster. I almost gassed myself to death when I, tried to cook. I didn't know the line wasn't connected. And then the super asked me, like, Sean, you've been in the building for years. I'm like, I was using it to store headshots. I didn't know.
Wait a minute. The show is called Worst Cooks in America, right? So you would think the criteria for the show and the casting would have the cooks on that were the worst cooks or couldn't cook, like yourself, and not bring on ringers. Or I guess you would be called a ringer.
Well, I'm just like a bad cook because I don't do it. There are other people who actually can cook.
Well, you need somebody, right? Exactly. So, all right. So you're part of. How many other chefs were there?
I'm just bitter I didn't win, George. That's the truth. So I want a rematch, Bobby. I want a rematch, you ginger.
So Bobby Flay was part of this too. Was he like one of the judges?
It's hosted by Ann and Bobby.
They do host. I'm sorry, I didn't see the show, so I couldn't speak on it. But I know Ann only because I used to do food. The food festival in Lower Manhattan? Yes. I used to direct some shows down there, and she would come on, and some other chefs would come on from the Food Network. I get to talk, blah blah blah, and she seemed very nice. She's a little eccentric, but she seemed very nice.
Well, actually, from that show, funny enough, I think it was the next year, I booked a hosting gig with Joe Bastianich, who I think is from MasterChefs. His mother is famous, and she owns Becco and other restaurants, and he's partnered with Babot, the guy.
Actually, funny you mentioned Becco. A good buddy of mine, his one of his good friends is the chef for back at Becco's.
I love that.
I've never had their food. I heard it's unbelievable. Can you speak about Becco's food?
Yeah. I went with a friend, and we did their sampling meal, which was around $100 or so per person. And to be honest, I don't normally spend that much, on an average meal.
No.
And so we enjoy it. And so we ate every course. And me and my friend, when we were done, we looked at each other. We're like, hey, we did so good because we feel full. Because each portion isn't minuscule, but it's not big. It's like
right,
almost like appetizer, like tapas, right?
Right.
So and the waiter came to us and gave us the check, and he looked at me and my friend was like, no one ever finished the full tasting menu. And then so from feeling good about myself, I felt like a fat pig. I was like, oh, okay. But anyhow, other than that.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Becco's, I heard it's pretty well known too. So
Yeah.
Getting back to the show, when did this happen for you?
Now it's been about 5 years. So the show was going, I think, into its 5th season. It was one of the top rated, other than I think the Iron Chef and Next Food Network star for the network at the time I did it. And then it's gone through different incarnations with different hosts. Now they would separate us from the hosts, so we didn't really get to interact much with them. So one time at a urinal, I got to talk to Bobby, and he was very nice. Like he actually complimented me. He's like, "Oh, you're doing good, Bennett." Da, 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 da. I was like, "Thanks." We didn't shake hands. He was at a urinal, but a very pleasant guy.
So yeah, I mean, a food show, you're on the show, and urinal. Usually you don't put those two in a sentence together, but
I think it was at the end of the day. But I mean, you gotta go. A chicken ain't standing in the way, George.
yeah, no, look, I've met plenty of people in the bathroom. It's just not something that I would go to naturally and talk about. But
Good for networking. I think. Some of my best experiences. But that's another show.
very good. All right, let's take a look at Worst Cooks in America with Sean Bennett.
Hey guys, welcome to the party. Boom. Chef Ann seems to think I don't have any flavor. Look at me! I'm a flavorful, colorful kind of guy. How can I have no flavor, huh? So I want to go to Flavor Town today. Looking at my stir fry, it kind of looks like a Lindsay Lohan after a night out. Chunky, jagged, but not a bad party. Spanish albardingas.
All right. Bennett, you're up first.
Chef Ann's never really liked my food. And normally she looks down at my plates like I just gave her bed bugs.
Oh my gosh. Who are you today, Bennett?
I don't know, but I like them better. We're gonna be making the pizza. We're probably gonna have to flip it in the air. They probably want us to do a cartwheel, catch it with our leg. We probably have 12 minutes. Uh-oh. Whoops. Runaway potato. Come on back, little booger. I'm left-handed and I had a lazy eye. How do you think I can cut a vegetable properly?
Do you realize what you did wrong? And don't ever run with your knife.
Good
Put
point.
It down.
Sorry. Sorry.
Put your knife.
Sorry.
Don't
down.
jump with a knife.
Sorry.
Settle down.
Sorry. No!
And Chef Lee is going to show you how it's done.
His magical ninja powers kick in. I can breathe fire. I feel like I have a dragon.
I'm gonna cut my cauliflower in about the same size as my potato. Why?
So it cooks even.
Cooks evenly.
Sizzle, 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 sizzle. Now I've heard of food processors, but I've never used one. We're on Meatball Titanic. Could you help me? I'm so sorry. Okay, cool.
There.
Okay, cool, thank you. I think I still have a VCR that I never was able to hook up.
What's in your sauce?
I'm using a brie and then a smoked Gouda. And so I'm thinking of kind of like a deconstructed pot pie, basically, on top of the French fries.
A deconstructed pot pie. Where did you come from? Hi, Bennett.
Good evening, Chef Ann. I go into the tasting expecting a judgment right away, but there's candlelight. Thank God I wore nice underwear.
I don't see really much of a sear on the bottom.
Just throw it in my face, Ann. Just throw it in my face.
Bennett, I'm sorry to have to ask you to turn in your apron.
We don't get a second day? I was a kitchen virgin, and now I've been deflowered, and I'm ready to keep on going.
On the red team, one recruit happily distinguished themselves. The winning recruit is Bennett.
Oh. Last week, I was in the bottom of a challenge, almost going home, and now I won. Ha ha.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Hey, look, you won.
Well, not the full competition.
Not the full competition, but you were brought back, right? And what's that? I'm sorry.
At one point, my chicken was presentable and doable to eat, or enough to eat.
Did they? I'm just curious how the show is produced. A show like that where they have potentially cooks that come on that potentially they don't cook and they don't have the way around the kitchen. So did they go ahead and teach anything, or was it just like, let's see just how bad you are and then we can work with that? And how did the production part of it go?
Teaching is the premise of the show, but a lot of the producers produce other reality shows. So they want as much heightened drama as possible. So in other words, all the guys had to sleep in the same bedroom. So we had like one guy who had
Are you serious?
Yeah, and was morbidly obese. So try to sleep when you hear a Mac train for 12 hours.
Wow.
Like bunk beds, yes. And then it's Food Network. They wouldn't feed us. I wanted to go to Crafty and they wouldn't let me. I'm like, I'm union. They're like, it's not under the union. They were right. It wasn't. So they wanted us hungry. They wanted us tired. And then when you go to cook, they hide all the equipment and they don't label anything. So you throw a bunch of things in a bag to me. Do I know like a parsnip from a turnip? Like a basil from a cilantro? No, it's like a mystery. It's like landing in, a foreign planet. I expect aliens to rip out of a body. So they do make it as hard as possible. And then they give you challenges like you saw, to pull your own noodle. I haven't pulled a noodle since I was a teenager. Well, but anyhow, hey.
That's another show, Bennett.
Maybe an old grandma, but most people don't make their own noodles. Most people don't make make your own sausage. Come on. But so they do things like that. So even
make your own sausage, I mean, come on. That I make my own sausage sometimes. Well, maybe not sometimes, but I've made sausage before.
All right, that's impressive. No, like I have Italian relatives. It's like, how you doing? And they can their own sauce. But that's about as crazy as like anybody I know goes. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. No, look. The premise of the show is the title, "The Worst Cooks in America." So as far as getting the cast together, and the whole, what's that?
They help you become even worse, or looking worse on TV because everything's hidden. It's time. So they show you how to make the dish, but they don't tell you where the hell anything is. They don't tell you how to get. They don't, So
right.
Operate anything. It doesn't have signage. So it's like, the Helen Keller cooking competition. It's not.
Now, to be honest, was everybody else having the same issues, or were you?
The cook did better. I mean, and then some people, if they have a chef in the family and they've seen the show before, they could prep by like filleting a fish, using food processors, say if they didn't do it before. Whereas a few of us just actually believed the premise and showed up and we're like, row, raggy. And
look, I think you brought a little spice to the show, and by having you in that role, and you gave it back to her. It seemed like that, on the clips and everything. You gave it back to her. You were kind of like, playing the part there a little bit. And, I think that episode probably was enjoyable, I think.
Well, I think, the truth about reality is the producers may have their own agenda for any show. Again, when we were filming this, it seemed like some people were going to come off crazy or really bad. I think the producers wanted that option, but they never do that on Food Network. So even when it aired, because I even forgot that, because you become so insulated. It's your world. They take your phone away. They don't let you contact the outside world. They take your computer away.
Really?
Together. They control when you eat. Everything is like you join the military. Now they do call it.
Did they have the nuclear codes or something? Or
I think Bobby Flay does. He's their biggest star. Yeah. He definitely does. Anyhow, the challenge, it becomes your world, and then you become like tired and stressed. So I remember at one point I made an egg dish, and I kind of didn't do very well, and I was starting to get choked up, and then I had to talk to myself and be like, Sean, it's an egg. Calm the hell down. It's an egg. But it's very easy to get caught up in it because of how it's set up. It's like a psychological test, or
right.
Pavlov's dog, and we're the dogs, and they're ringing the bell.
You're too much. So look, you've gone from acting. Well, you're an actor through and through, but you have different roles, whether it be acting in serious roles, acting in comedic roles, TV hosting. You're doing MTV and VH1. I got that there.
That's
And,
how, actually, yeah. I wanted to be a VJ like Carson Daly. I was around
okay.
him, and they had a competition to become a VJ, and I beat out like 1,000 other people. And the crazy day that I was on somehow did not air. Now the good news is, when that didn't air, even though I beat out all those people, they put me to host a show on VH1 called My Nomination Special. So I guess it was some of the hosts they had on file, me who didn't get to air any other one from MTV.
Right.
I still got work from it, and that was my first major TV hosting work for VH1.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, look, you start somewhere and you never know. You're seen and things lead to other things, and that's all you can do, I mean, but you got to position yourself. You got to position yourself to get noticed. And I think you're running the gamut here of different roles and everything. And so now you're an author of a book called Luxury Steals and Deals. I was reading up about this book. This is amazing that you put this book together. Now this is is it memoirs of through the years that you've collectively these thoughts about how to get things for a lesser price, but yet live like a person that has money.
Especially now that too, one of the new things I'm doing is motivational speaking, and which we'll get to later. You had mentioned before the show. I wanted to say a lot of times life gives you clues. And so what you were just basically discussing is how I've done so many different roles.
Right.
I came to New York. I needed to learn how to support myself. And so one of the ladies I mentioned, Bettina Sky, she did things like clowning, and she was performing at all the corporate events. So I wanted to learn her secrets. So I befriended her in part because I liked her, and in part because I wanted to figure out how to establish a life, and she helped me. And then another woman, Lisa Marie Castablier, she was doing trade shows, convention hosting, and also share. So that led me to that, which brings me to my book. I was traveling, doing some media and television and a lot of live work for Scion, a division of Toyota that no longer exists.
Right.
But anyhow, at the time, one of my coworkers, I was just pseudo bragging, I guess. I got, upgraded on the plane. I got upgraded in the hotel. I was like, what about you guys? Are we all going to the lounge together for free food? And most of them were dumbfounded. And they're like, well, how did you do it? And to me, there was another woman we worked with, Bethany Zolt. I might as well give credit to everybody while I'm talking. And she had mentioned, sign up for all these rewards programs, because when you have status, you can get a free upgrade on the plane. You can get upgraded to, when you're on the road, and say if you're working 10 days at a trade show, even though they're paying for my hotel and my airfare, you have to eat. At one point, hotels were charging for internet, not so much anymore. Gyms, sometimes they charge a fee. But if you have status, all that could be potentially free. Now, a lot of times their concierge lounge is meant for breakfast and snacks. If you're super cheap, you can make full meals out of it. So some coworkers do, some don't. Some are better than others, as far as what they're offering. But it was basically taking knowledge from other people and bringing it to my life. So the one woman who I was mentioning some of this stuff to, coworker, said, you should write a book. And I said, about what? And she was like, about this, what you're doing, getting all these skills. So again, I listened to a wise friend or the universe speaking through a friend and followed its direction. And that's what led me to writing the book, Luxury Steals and Deals, all based on things I've actually done myself.
That's amazing. So you and it's great because it's there's tips in there on how to I guess navigate through the minutia of different situations where you could find yourself and to get different deals at a low cost, anywhere from clothing to housing. There's the back of the book. There's, I don't know if people can read that, but it just goes with your background and how you've reached the conclusions of different deals and how, this could work for an average person who might not make a lot of money and is looking for an extravagant life. I don't know about the French Riviera, but I think, look, let's talk about it. You've traveled the world. I've seen pictures of you in Dubai and across the globe. Making this work for you?
Exactly. I mean, and the best is when you can give back to someone you love. So I'm going to use that example because you mentioned the French Riviera. It wasn't on her to do. My mother had really only been to Ireland, I believe, in her life. My father's passed away. Anyhow, she had always wanted to go to Italy and I think the Greek Isles. And so for her 75th birthday, using some of the techniques from my book, I used, miles to get her a first class plane ticket. I also, had all 5-star hotels for free using points. And then I even was able to finagle an upgrade from Celebrity Cruise Lines, for our room to be as nice as possible. So really making it a 5 or 4.5, 4-star vacation for my mother, so she was not used to flying first class regularly. I've just been fortunate to travel enough where I get perks of doing that, which allows me to do it regularly. And made her 75th birthday. And what's very funny is one of the places we went, it makes total sense when you say it, but I never thought about it. Santorini is Saint Irene, and my mother's name is Irene. Oh. And so it's very funny because she grew up in Jersey, and you can never see the name Irene anywhere. But, we went to an island where every shop was Irene, Irene, Irene.
Oh, really? Oh, that's wild.
Everything's La Belle, La Belle, La Belle. Everything's beautiful. Beautiful homeless person, the beautiful spoon. It's all La Belle. So there it was all Irene. I'm like, look, you have a whole island, Mom. Who knew? Start to put in a lawsuit.
Now the book is I'm taking it. It's an easy read.
It is.
It's an easy read.
For noticing the California.
Well, look, you could find it on Amazon and Kindle, right? It's out there, so people can go to Amazon and Kindle or locally.
Look, $9. What do you have to lose? Luxury Steals deals. You get upgrade on an airfare. You can get an upgrade. You can get deals on surgery. I had a dental cap for $200 instead of $2,000. That's disgust.
Wait a minute. Did you back up? Did you say surgery?
Yeah.
There's a Luxury Steals and Deals about surgery?
There is. Tools,
wait a minute. Hold on. You mean you're talking about cosmetic surgery?
Cosmetic, yes.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know how to get, your heart done, but I mean, maybe it might be an amendum. You have a heart attack, get back to me in a while. Hopefully
you might have to do an amendment about the book. So also you do have a website that luxury. Let me put that up.
LuxuryStealsDeals.com.
LuxuryStealsDeals.com. And so I was on there, and I picked this. And there's a blog section, and in the blog section, there's a list of certain ways how to make deals or get deals, and live like a star in New York City. Look at you.
Well, hey, Harrison Ford was a neighbor at one point. We had celebrities back when Chelsea was the go-to area for just like a smaller group of people. Now it seems to be mainly a lot of young women and students. Like the neighborhood's changed. But it's more expensive than, say, the Upper East or Upper West, and all of New York is ridiculously priced. So the perfect example is when I moved into my apartment, the rent for a 1-bedroom doorman building in my building with a washer dryer in my bathroom, dishwasher, and this furnished roof deck that you see in that picture was $800 a month. I got in at $540 a month. And
really?
Now rent retails for $4,300 a month. I now pay a little bit over $800 a month, but this is 15 years later. So you always hear that story about the old lady who never moved out. I'm the old lady, and I can teach you how to be an old lady too.
So that picture is the rooftop of your place?
Yeah, of my building. It is not my apartment solely.
No, but of your building. That's pretty cool. So you can go up there, take some sun, and do the whole thing up there. That's awesome.
Yeah, we have a gym downstairs, which now, since the whole Corona thing, has been a blessing beyond. Because what's also great, very few people use it. So a lot of times I'll go down and I'll work out. I'm the only one there, so I can actually pull the mask below my nose. I can actually work out. So I didn't renew my gym membership because I have it right downstairs, and I'm often alone. So for safety, it seems to be the perfect.
Let me ask you a question about the whole Manhattan scene with people moving out. There's a whole mass exodus of people that Manhattanites that's been there, and I've seen pictures of moving vans and stuff. Do you see that in your area?
What I heard originally, like my building was only about 30% occupied. And now it seems like about 70% to 60% at least of people who were in the city have come back. I would say on average, the buildings are about 20% empty.
Really?
So my book actually covers the program. Let me explain what I have. It's called 80-20. 80% of the building pays full price, 20% doesn't. And it's based on an income range anywhere from $25,000 to like $100,000 a year. And once you're in, you're locked in. So you become a multimillionaire and you don't pay more for your rent either. So it's a great program. And then there's other programs for like artist housing, etc. So that's all I did in my chapter 1. So the point is, when more people are moving out of the city right now, is the perfect time to take advantage of these opportunities. And if you don't know how, check out my book. Or even check out my website, add me on Instagram, whatever. We'll be besties forever online. I mean, that's fun.
No, I think it's a good angle. I mean, because look, everybody's looking for a deal out there. I don't care who you are.
It really is. It's more expensive to live in New York than anywhere else. I mean, us, and Los Angeles, and California supposedly has a large mass exodus going. People can't afford to live, really.
Right.
And now, are we going to get the international business, that everything went down and we've handled COVID so badly? Will international students want to fully return, or is everything going to go more online? There's a lot of uncertainty.
Right,
So that also, which is, what I was going to talk about a little bit later, the uncertainty that's going on now opens up opportunity. Because I actually did get the deal on my apartment because it's also a lottery system due to 9/11. So even though it was a horrible, incident that had happened, so much upheaval was going on and so many people were uncertain where they were going. It opened up room for my application to be approved for my apartment. So now is another one of those times we may look at like, oh my goodness, the sky is raining fire. What do we do? Well, people right now, we have the largest amount of mass billionaires we've ever had. So somebody is that person. Some of it might be nepotism, some of it might be handed, etc. But some of it is self-made as well. And so wherever there's a void, and right now there's lots of voids, there's a room for opportunity. So it's just a matter of finding out what opportunity is right for you and how to grasp it, and to use this space, this time of uncertainty to your advantage, and whatever maybe was holding you back, use the time, like you did wisely, having a show. You took the time to create something, so from nothing, I mean, I don't know, not to say there was nothing, but now there's like something was brought into fruition, and Zoom, how it's changed everything, and
Zoom has changed quite a bit. It's been the vehicle out there for people to see one another, talk to one another, and to do business with one another. So it's serving a big purpose in our world. It's just amazing. The technology is changing as we all know, every 8 months. So just trying to keep up with the technology, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this show, because I am in the technology business of staging, but you, on the other hand, making this book, authoring it and getting it out there and showing people, look, you can find a deal anywhere, any place. You just have to. Is there a method to your madness, or is it like you just show tips?
So everything is, if you think you can get something and you act like you can, you usually can. I'll use a perfect example. Something that's not really related to my book, but it's a mindset. I was flying to Germany and eventually going to, meet up with a friend in Austria. Okay, that's beside the point. But I had a really bad cheap ticket and like a really bad seat. However, it was on an airline I flew rather regularly. It was Cinco de Mayo, and a lot of the attendants for the airlines, and I don't blame them, were already having margaritas, and they were chill, but they also didn't care a lot. So I was trying to get just like an exit row or a bulkhead. I was setting my goal very low because it didn't look like I was going to pay or had any availability, and business are first. So long and short, I finally get that bulkhead seat. So I have extra leg room for, let's say, a 7-hour flight approximately. So I get onto the flight, and after like asking 3 different people, like, hey, do you have this, you have that? And I think the one who had the most margaritas was like, sure, let me give you the bulkhead. I was all happy. I sat down in my bulkhead seat. I got on first. The flight attendants were friendly. I was talking to them, chatting away. 10 minutes later, some person I never saw from the desk at the gate, because I think I hit up other ticket agents, came over and was like, sir, you need to move because we need this for a baby and its parents to sit here because we can strap in, not the carriage, but like the baby seat. And I was like, no, I really tried to get the seat. Why do I need to leave? I'm assigned the seat. They're like, no, you need to go to 15E. So I walked over to like 15E. Somebody was in it. So it was a conundrum. So these 2 women come in, and I don't know, maybe they had a horrible day. They were very nasty people. And, the one woman was just like, well, we need to go, da-da-da. And then she looked at me and was like, don't you work here, whatever? It's like, work here? Because I'm animated? I work for an airline? I'm like, how's your tumor? Sorry, I'm psychic. I'm like, not so cool. So anyhow, I looked at the flight attendant, and I said, hey, look, these people are fighting over this seat. Where they want to put me doesn't exist. Is there any way I could just get upgraded to first? And then we could just avoid this whole brouhaha. Because the flight attendant, who was friendly, said that seat wasn't even made to hold a baby seat. But these people were nasty and intimidated the gate agent.
Wow.
A couple minutes later, the lead flight attendant approved me to first class. So I was like, may you and your wretched baby enjoy.
Look at you. Look
Hasta
at you,
la
first
bye-bye.
class.
Going
Look
to
at you, first class, with the whining and dining and the mimosas and all this other stuff that they give you there.
In a mimosa, no screaming baby. I won,
And were you reading your book in first class?
I was writing it, like how to outsmart evil parents and their wretched child. Chapter.
that could be your next book.
That's the next one.
So Sean, so tell me, you've now. Look, you looks like you're a great showman, and you have a lot of knowledge. You've done the acting thing. You're still doing acting, author, and now you're morphing into a motivational speaker. And this is pretty interesting. This is pretty interesting because to motivate people and to be on stage, and to have prepared marks or prepared talking points of what to say. That takes a lot, I mean, you have to dig deep for that one because you have to be, part is you're an actor. So that part you got in the bag, but now it's finding the motivation and trying to reach people, in the audience. And if you can touch one person, 2 people, 3, 10, 20, whatever, then you've done your job. Where did you go? How did you dive into this?
It seems like a natural transition for me because it was brought up by other people, by the universe. Somebody reached out to me from LinkedIn, just random. And it was a gentleman who is a school teacher who runs virtual school library. So during this whole pandemic, he wanted to have inspiration and stories and entertainment for students during this down and uncertain time period. So he reached out to me. At the same time, I just coincidentally booked my first online class with Tony Robbins. Right. And to me, it seemed to go together. So I purposely scheduled my meeting for the virtual school library that we did via Zoom as well, to be after Tony Robbins, thinking that I'm going to get inspiration or an idea to go from that course. And I did in a way, but I think a lot of it was just accessing my own vulnerability. So many things tie together and so many things happen in unexpected ways. So far up to this point, I've been, like Fozzie Bear and all my little waka wakas. But the other side of me, I'm very interested and fascinated in philosophy and religions, and I study a lot. I'm not going to go in that direction to scare anybody off. But the point is, there's always room for growth and self-improvement, and something that I've kind of studied a lot. And so I wanted to see what Tony Robbins had to offer and see what I can offer. Now, even doing something like Food Network, what I learned, one of the women who was a contestant on the show, Kelly, also produced TV. So she really went in with a very strong agenda, and she was a very lovely person. She won, God bless. She deserves it. She had told me at one point, she's like, Bennett, you're not going to be likable. And at first I was like, why? Like, to me, I'm like a funny, nice enough guy. Why?
Right.
You don't have to marry me. Why? Just like me. Well, the typical audience, she thought was, conservative, and they might view me as like overgroomed, big city, things that they have it too liberal and not relatable. And so then, and I did a little bit with you as well, I learned things that I used to be ashamed of, like being a kid, I used to not be able to say my THs. I'd say 1, 2, fweet. And kids would like, oh, count for us, just so they could hear the fweet.
Oh, okay.
Like at that school, it didn't feel as much as bullying as kids just being kids. Even though later on I went on to be bullied at a different school, but that particular instance, I would actually accommodate them. So I had that little issue. I really did have a weight issue. But because I had a very supportive mother, I kind of didn't see it in full throttle, but still, even though my classmates had went to private schools and a high school performing arts, most were wealthier than I was. My parents got divorced. I wound up living in a mobile home with a single parent mother, and I would never tell people this. I felt ashamed.
Really?
I blessed that because I wasn't living, the same degree or lifestyle that they had. And I think many things like that stick with you as life goes on.
Yeah.
And that's why I guess there is therapy, or there's a search, for religions and different programs. And there are different programs. And I think anything, religion, yourself, or whatever you use can be a crutch, but they're tools. So it all depends on who's presenting the tool and who's also accepting the tool. And that's how it's going to impact and affect your life. So for instance, I took one course at Landmark. And what I want to thank you as well is, for letting me share my story, and that you're making everybody's story relevant and people who are following their passion. Because a lot of times we all have dreams and goals and aspirations. And I think the difference between a dream and a passion is taking the action on your dream. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go where you want it to go, because the universe has a sense of humor. But, passion without, action, without action, you don't have passion, you have a dream.
Right.
But once you're in action, you're living your passion, and passion is something you have to do, not something that you would just like to have happen. I think most people say, I'd like to win the lottery. And then you ask them, well, why? What would you do with it? Some people might be like, oh, to support my family, to not have to worry about bills. But many other people are like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Is that really a goal then? And why should the universe grant it to you? There's many different layers. So one thing that I learned, a lot of times we get caught in feeling helpless, hopeless. I mean, look at what's going on. We're in a very uncertain time. We don't know what's going to go on. Like I said, we can look at it as a world of opportunity, or we can look at it like, look, I don't know where my next gig's going to come from. I don't know how I'm going to, maintain my job. Maybe I was let go. Maybe my kid doesn't want to take school online. Maybe I can't teach my school properly online. So many uncertainties. But I think one of the keys that I learned from a program that I had mentioned, and it's not even endorsing them, but Landmark is the name. Some people love them, some people hate them. Anyhow, it's how you look at it. Once you accept everything in your life from where you are today, you are no longer the victim. You can now start to go towards your victory. For instance, my father, when I was little, at one point in particular, I remember my cousins were over and they were just like typical rowdy boys. And I was just like this crazy, like little artist 9-year-old. And so my cousins started making fun of me. And as we were going to perform for my whole family for my first communion, and then my father joined in. And when that happened, I was devastated, beyond hurt. And I started bawling, and my mother saw me bawling. She thought I had stage fright. And she's like, you don't have to perform. I couldn't even talk. I was like, but, And then after that and other incidents, me and my father, after my parents' divorce, didn't really have a strong relationship anymore. He just stopped contacting me. And I let it go. Now, what had happened with Landmark, they had said, if you reach out to people who may have hurt you, but you want to amend the relationship for whatever reason, and just claim your role, like, hey, which I did. I was essentially, I was like, Dad, sorry I didn't stay in touch. Sorry I was holding on to this. I hope we can move forward. We did. And what happened was, before he passed away, we were able to have a renewed relationship. That if I did not make that attempt, would never have happened. And it's not about, was I wrong as a 9-year-old, or was he right as an adult, and should he have come around first, which in a perfect world, yes, to all those.
Right.
However, that's not what happened. And it wasn't, what was really in my best growth interest or even resolution. So before he died, for the first time, I heard him say he loved me. And so I get even touched about that.
Oh,
And
that was awesome.
what motivational speaking is. I think what connects us is not our strengths, but our vulnerabilities. Oprah went national once she discussed that she was sexually abused. And I don't think it's because people want to see you in pain, but they want to know that there's something about you that they understand. And
Right.
that's what the woman on Food Network was saying. And that's why I want to try to use my truth to touch as many people in many ways as I can, emotionally, spiritually, in this lifetime, whether it be from writing, acting, or now motivational speaking.
Bravo. No, look, you have a very interesting background, and as you spoke about it, I mean, my God, being bullied, just looked upon differently, your upbringing with your parents, your dad. There's so many different factors for your motivation to speak about it, and the passion that you attach to it can definitely drive it home, to people that you speak to about this, and you did, right? You put this into action. You did speak in front of a group, whether it be what was it, high school?
Yeah, it was for high school students and younger, and then also their teachers as well.
Yeah.
And that topic, so slightly different. It was essentially talking about when between 10th grade and 11th grade for my schooling, where I went from least popular to one of the popular kids because the school just didn't get me. And I was bullied, I was beaten. It was just horrendous. And I felt helpless and hopeless. But again, passion is what you have to do. So to survive, I had no other choice. I knew something had to show. And again, listening to the universe, I turned on the television one day, and it was people talking about a brand new high school of performing arts in a couple towns over. And I looked into it. I made my mother take me to the audition. I got in, and it essentially saved me on many different levels. And so because I was talking to high school students, that's what I really wanted to share. And hopefully, with your audience, what I wanted to share is make your dream into your passion. Take action on your dream. That's the difference. And if this chaos in the world or uncertainty is now, giving you extra time, take full advantage, because
exactly.
you don't know when you'll have it again, and use it as a window of opportunity.
God willing, we don't have this again. Look, this serves what we're going through right now. Sean, is a pause, and it's a pause for the economy, unfortunately, but it's also a pause, individually for us as people to regroup and basically look ourselves in the mirror and said, look, I have to do X, Y, and Z now when things get back to normal to be successful. And I think what you're doing is key, because you're unfolding another chapter in your professional life as a motivational speaker, and that you can serve a purpose to speak to these problems that people might be having, and putting a bow and a spin on what you went through to possibly have other people look at you and say, you know what? And now they're looking at themselves and saying, maybe I should relook at things, or maybe, he's speaking truth here. And that's very
exactly. And I think that's really what this time has caused, because we have to be like, where are we? Why are we so divided as a nation? Why is one person right or wrong? And, the political parties, so, not getting into it, but you can just see such a strong divide. Why are there still racial issues? I mean, I felt at least, we've come so far. And then you see, that we still have so much work to do, but maybe that's why something by the universe happened to bring our attention to this, like where are we as a people? Where are we as an individual? Where do we want to go? And where do we want to go as a collective? Because I think there's more that unites us than divides us. And the divisions come with a desire for power, whether that be from a political group, a religious group, a sales group, whatever it may be. And it's up to us to not allow that division and to find within ourselves our own happiness, or if we don't have it, to seek it out and to not blame somebody else, because we're all handed a plate, and then it's whatever we decide to do with it. Life is a series of choices. So you can be the victim or the victor, and it's really your choice. And sometimes it may not even change your life, but once your perspective changes, that's when your life will start to change. Yeah. Because if you live each day in happiness and gratitude, you can be happier than Paris Hilton or somebody with all the money in the world. And that's why sometimes, why do celebrities, and not to say it in any mean way, but like a Whitney Houston, why were they cut so short? It was because they could not embrace who they are and fully and love themselves. And that's really the key. And it's our journey. And I think we're here on this planet to learn, to grow, and hopefully help and reach as many people as we can.
Yeah, no, I mean,
and we can only do what we can do.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And just to make one final point about this, as far as having people, like when I was growing up, my dad always said to me, treat somebody else the way you want to be treated. And if everybody can just use that for whatever situation that they're in, whether it be anywhere, wherever they are, everything will be fine. Because if you don't treat somebody the way you want to be treated, then, I think then the problems are just going to keep on going, and it's going to be infinity, and nothing's going to get solved. But it's a very key thing, because look, the worst of the worst, they don't want to be treated bad, right? They want to be treated good.
That worst of the worst, where they could be like, well, it was because, I was tied to the radiator and beaten every day from 5 to 12.
Right.
They could justify it. However, they have the choice to not be that worst,
Look, I didn't think that the show was going to go so deep. I would have had a glass of wine instead of a mug here, but
feel free now.
But look, what you're doing is very, very good, and I applaud you for taking the steps in your career to bring you up to this point. Author now, and now you're a motivational speaker, and actor. You never give up that. The phone rings, your agent calls, and hey, we got to roll, blah, blah, blah. You're going to take that. But
I think it's all connected. The ability or the desire or the passion, and since I brought that word up more than, is to communicate and to share. And so there's vehicles and ways to do that. And one necessarily isn't better than the other. It's just, just go with the flow, see where life takes me, and try to have as much impact for myself and others as possible. That's my wish. It's my desire. It's my passion. And here we are.
Right on, brother.
Thank you.
Sean, thank you so much for joining me tonight on the show. It was very enlightening to talk to you. And, hopefully anybody out there that watches this either live or replay can take something from you. And, thanks again, man.
Thank you. God bless. I appreciate this opportunity. Thank you for doing what you're doing, showcasing so many wonderful people on a diverse family.
Yeah, I try to do that. Look, the people that I bring on the show, they might not be, best of acting, but they're real people, and they're people that are in our industry and other industries, but they're serving a purpose, and they're doing things that are achievable. And, I like to spotlight that. So, but thanks, man. Thanks for coming on. And I really appreciate you, stopping in.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. That was great, man. Sean was amazing, and learned a lot. Learned a lot tonight about, life. I didn't think the show was going to go there. But join me again on, join me again on Sunday night. We're going to have, this is going to be good. We're going to have Joey Fogno from the Cake Boss, the famous Cake Boss in Hoboken, New Jersey. And he's going to come on the show. He's going to talk about Buddy, and I think Buddy's laid up a little bit. He had an accident, but we'll talk about that. Let's get an update on Buddy's recovery. And so join me again on Sunday night at 9 p.m. on Buzz Talk Live. Good night, America.